Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Can you hear me? Please confirm in the chat box. Thank you very much. Thank you for your responses. Let's stop the chat. Okay. Identity and access management. We have learned the concept of four terminologies important in identity and access management. We have discussed about users. We have learned how to create identity and IAM user and how to log in with the IAM user. And we provide restricted permissions to IAM user, isn't it? We also discussed about groups, collection of users. We make it as a group, which will share common permissions. We have discussed, and we discussed about policies. Policies are nothing but the permissions we attach it to either users or group. That's called as policies. The only term which is pending in identity and access, we also have discussed about how can we connect to AWS using the command line interface. Now today we'll be discussing about the concept of role. Okay, what is roles? Okay, what is the purpose behind the role? So let's try to understand with an example. So with this roles, we'll be completing identity and access management, and then I want to jump into the next service called as VPC, stands for Virtual Private Cloud. So this is our plan for our today's session. So starting with, as mentioned in the agenda, we'll discuss about roles. Okay. So let's try to understand what is role and then how exactly roles are used. With an example, we'll try to understand. Okay. So before getting into the concept of roles, yes, Sachin, how are you?
Hi Sunil, good morning.
Good morning, Sachin. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. What about you?
Yeah, doing good. Thank you. And how is your learning experience? How is your practice going on?
Yeah, it's superb, sir.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Sachin.
Yeah,
You are able to
my
understand the
question is
concepts, right?
yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, very clear. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Actually, last time when I did practical, okay, at that time I just
Last time in the
delete
sense? Yesterday?
last time in the sense Friday.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I delete the default subnet group, okay, and then after try to create
Default
new,
subnet group.
yeah, subnet group.
Where is subnet group?
So whatever the default
No,
group,
no, no.
right?
Security group,
Yeah, security group.
not subnet group. Isn't it?
Yeah,
You're talking about security group. Okay, tell
yes,
me.
yes,
Hmm.
yes. So I have deleted it, okay. And next time I try to create launch instance, that time it gives the error.
Error.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
So what should I do
What to
now?
do? You need to send an email to customer care,
Okay.
support team,
Mm-hmm.
AWS support. Okay. Mention that, see here you have support, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sachin? Okay, open support center and then send an email about that the default security group is deleted by mistake. Can you please restore it? Please
Okay.
restore it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Sunil.
Okay, Sachin. Thank you. Naveen Kumar. Good morning. How are you doing, Naveen? I can see your hand raised.
Yeah, good morning, Sunil. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Naveen. It's my pleasure. Yes, your question.
Yeah, my question, Sunil, that recorded videos that is permanently in our
Yes, in the Google. Yeah, lifetime access.
sometimes the institutes is only 6 months or
Some
1
institutes give 1 year or 6 months. We give full-time access. Okay.
year. As of now, I didn't pay the amount. Today, I will
Okay.
pay the.
Okay. No problem. Welcome.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Naveen.
Yeah, welcome.
Okay. Okay. So let's try to understand. So I want to discuss about the concept of roles. I want to discuss about the concept of roles. Okay. An IAM role is an identity you can create that has a specific permissions with credentials that are valid for short durations. Roles can be assumed by entities that you can trust. So this theory, let's make it simplified by using the example. Before explaining you what is role, first I'll create a role. Okay. First I want to create a role. A role will have two ends, source and destination. I mentioned source as EC2, destination as S3 full access. Do you remember S3 full access is a policy which we give it to users, isn't it? So what I'm doing, I'm creating a role, one end of the role, source, I mentioned it as EC2, destination, I mentioned it as EC3 full access. First, let's create this. First, I'll create this. Okay. Now your question could be, why are you taking source as EC2? Can we use other services? You can use other services, but generally roles are attached to EC2 machines generally. So that's the reason I'm taking the roles, and source I mentioned it as EC2. What is the role name? Role name can be anything. Role name can be anything. For example, I'll write it as my role with today's date. This is the name of the role which I want to create. So look at this example is pretty simple. I'm creating a role. The name of the role is my role 27. Source I mentioned it as EC2. Destination I attach a policy called S3 full access. So let's first create this role. Okay. Then we'll understand how to use this role. Create role. EC2, you have to select EC2 because the source is EC2. Next. I've selected EC2 because as mentioned in the diagram, the source is EC2. So you need to select the use case. Common use case is EC2 only. Next. Policy. What policy you are planning to attach? We already have discussed it. Amazon S3 full access. Amazon S3 full access is a policy which I'm attaching. Next. Key is nothing but naming the role. Key I'm writing it as name, and value I mention it as my underscore role 27. Okay, so here also you can provide a name. Okay, I don't draw this. Next, I create a role name, the name of the role. Okay. Allows EC2 instances, as we have mentioned, source as EC2 allows EC2 instances to call AWS services. So this role is allowing EC2 instance to call S3 access. Okay. This role is allowing EC2 service to communicate to S3 access. Okay. So provide the description. This is the name of the role, and I have attached the policy to the role, and then I have created a role. Done. Role has been created. Where can you see the role which you have created? In the list of roles which you can see the role which I have created. I think my role 27 is the name of the role which I have created. I'm done with creating the role. Source I have mentioned it as EC2, and what is the policy which I attach it to the role? Select this role, you'll understand what policy is attached to the role, and you can see the permissions as policies. S3 full access is the policy which I have attached to this particular role. I'm done with creating a role. Okay, step 1 is done. Role creation is completed. Definitely a question could be how to use this role, Sunil. Okay, as a role source is EC2, we need to attach the role to the EC2 machine. I will be creating the EC2 machine. I'll be creating an EC2 machine, and I'll be attaching the role to the EC2 machine. I'll be attaching the role to the EC2 machine. Okay. So obviously you need to switch to service called EC2. Instances. As usual, I'm creating a new machine, Amazon Linux. Look at the notes. A role is a replacement of credentials. A role is a replacement of credentials. We have created a role with source as EC2, destination as S3 full access. Now I'm launching an EC2 machine, and at the time of launching the EC2 machine, I'll attach a role to the machine. Okay, where to attach the role? We attach role in the step 3. Okay, we'll attach role in the set 3. Look at this. Amazon Linux. In step 3, how many instances you want to create? One instance, and here we have an option of IAM role. Till now we have never experienced IAM role. So in step 3, we have an option of attaching the role to the EC2 machine. What is the name of the role you have created? My role 27. Can you see the role which you have created? Yes. So in step 3, we'll attach the role to the EC2 machine. Very good. Fine. Next, security group. SSH. I'll add 2 rules, SSH as well as HTTP. Okay. Review and launch. Click on launch. Create a new key pair. I'm writing it as IAM 27 KP. Download. Any location, I'm saving it in my desktop. Launch instances. View instances. Machine name can be anything. This is the latest machine which I have created. I'm writing it as a new machine. So I have created an EC2 machine. Look at the diagram. I have created an EC2 machine and I have attached the role to the EC2 machine. Okay. Okay. Good morning, Rajendra Prasad. Your question, please.
Hello, sir.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Oh, fine, fine. How are you, sir?
Doing
Thank you for
well.
this opportunity.
Thank you, Prasad. Yeah.
Mm, It is so useful for me.
Okay. Okay.
I also started my career
Mm-hmm.
6 months
Okay.
back. I am also joined in Fracture
Okay.
in FSS.
Okay.
Only.
Which platform?
Platform is Java, sir. Java
Okay.
and SQL.
Okay. Started your career as a Java developer. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Okay. Any specific reason why are you learning AWS?
I want to learn. Why? Because technology also increasing. We want to update now. That's why.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Your question, please.
Mm. Sir, I want that links are what you recorded with now.
As you know, you have to pay 999 rupees if you want to get the day-to-day recordings. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You know that? Are you
Sir,
in the
in
WhatsApp group?
AWS we have coding or not? I have little bit doubt for that.
Are you in the WhatsApp group?
Yes, I'm in
In
WhatsApp
the
group.
WhatsApp group, you have the details, right? So using that, you
Okay,
can
okay,
proceed. And for
okay,
coming to
okay.
coding, did you use any time till now coding? No.
What, sir?
Till now, right from day one, did you use any coding? There's no coding here. Okay. If there is any coding, there will be minimum coding. Okay. That's very, very
Hmm.
less. Okay,
Okay,
Prasad.
okay,
Yeah. Thank you.
okay.
So, uh, EC2 machine has been created and the role is attached to the EC2 machine. Let's wait for the machine to be created. I want to connect to this EC2 machine using putty. I want to connect to using putty. So what I'll do, I convert the PEM file to PPK file. We already know the process. This is the PEM file. I need to convert it to PPK file. So for that, we need a putty gen. See, I'm saving it as PPK file. Yes, the PPK file is now ready. PEM file is available and converted PEM file to PPK file. As now PEM file is PPK file is available, so I open putty. Connect to this particular machine. Username at DNS. Under SSH, under authentication. Yes, connected. Okay. Connected to the machine. Okay. Now, in the last session, we have seen command line interface, isn't it? We have seen command line interface. I opened the command prompt and then I have used a command called AWS configure. When I use AWS configure, it will ask for the access key and secret key. When you provide these values, you'll be connecting to that particular AWS account. You can work with services. Okay. Now, from this particular terminal, I want to work with AWS CLI. Okay, I want to manage my AWS account using from this particular terminal. Now try to understand. This is what happens. As we have attached the role to the EC2 machine, yes, you can see the role is attached. We don't need AWS configure commands. Okay, we don't need these credentials, access key and secret key, not required. Because the role is a replacement of credentials. Role is a replacement of credentials. As we have attached role, there are no credentials required. Now, as this particular role is having what permission? As this role is having S3 access permission. So from this EC2, you can connect to S3. You can manage the S3 service. From this EC2 machine, you can manage the S3 service. I want to see list of all the buckets. When I want to see list of all the buckets, AWS S3 LS. Are you able to see list of all the buckets? Yes, right now there are no buckets. That's the reason you are unable to see it. But you are not getting any error. So let's create a bucket and experience. Are we able to communicate to S3 service or not? Let's create one bucket. You can see bucket is successfully created. Sachin, can you hear me? I want
Yes,
to have
Sunil.
a talk.
Yeah.
So we are now working with EC2. We have connected to
EC2.
this EC2 machine. This EC2 machine has having a role attached to it. That role is having a permission called S3 full
S3
access.
full
That means
access.
from this particular EC2, you can connect to S3 service. Got it? Now
Yeah.
I'm running AWS S3 LS. Now are you able to see the buckets? Perfect.
Yes.
Sachin, please. Clear. Now look at
Yeah.
this. Now can I create a IAM user?
Yes.
AWS IAM create -user username. What is the name of the user I'm creating?
Amit.
What's the name? Can I create a user? Tell me.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. This particular role is having IAM full access or S3 full access? Sachin,
Yes. Yes.
this particular role which you have created, what is the policy which is having? The role is having.
S3 full access.
So you can only manage S3. You cannot work with IAM. Are you understanding? You cannot create an IAM user. Error occurred. No, you are not authorized. Why you are unable to create an IAM user? Can you guess? You are able to manage with S3 service, but you are unable to create an IAM user. Why you are unable to create an IAM user? Because you don't have permission. Do you have S3 full access or IAM full access? S3 full access.
S3 full
So you
access.
can only manage S3 commands. You cannot create IAM. Got it, Sachin?
Yeah.
Our understanding. Thank you. You are unable, that particular machine is unable to deal with IAM because that role is not having IAM full access. You can see here, access denied, we are able to see. Now, if you want IAM access also, I'll attach one more policy. One role can have two policies. Are you understanding, friends? Try to understand. One role can have two policies. Now, what policy am I attaching? I'm attaching IAM full access policy. Already that role is having S3 full access. I'm adding one more policy. How to change the role? Go to roles. Select the role which you have created. What is the role you have created? My role 27. Select the role which you have created. Attach policy. Already one policy is attached. Already I'm attaching one more policy now. IAM full access policy I'm attaching to the existing role. I'm not creating new role. I'm adding permissions to the existing role. Attach policy. Done. Policy has been attached. The additional policy has been attached. What policy has been attached? IAM full access. That means this particular EC2 machine can deal with S3 service, can also communicate with IAM service. It is something like connection between the services. When you trust an EC2 machine, okay, so you can attach the role and provide those particular permissions to the particular user. Now, when I see, as we have attached the new policy, previously we are getting an error saying that access denied. Now I'm using the same create user command. Previously, create user was giving an error. I'm using the create user command. The username what I'm creating is Amit. Yes, successfully created. You have successfully, you're not getting any error. So are you understanding? So this particular EC2 machine, using this particular EC2 machine, you want to restrict to specific service. You want to communicate, establish communication between one service to other service. We can also use the concept of roles. We can use the concept of roles. Okay. Clear? You can detach a role. When you detach a role, first let's detach a role. How to detach a role? So we have an actions, instance settings. So what I'm doing, we are detaching a role, removing the role, connectivity. Okay. So how to remove the role? Go to the EC2 machine. Select the instance which you have created. What is the name of the instance which you have created? I think new machine is the instance which you have created. Actions. Go to instance settings. There's an option called not instance setting. Security. Modify IAM role. Security. Modify IAM role. This is the role which you have attached to the EC2 machine. So what I'm doing, no IAM role. No IAM role. This, so I'm removing the IAM role. So not here in the modify, it is in the security. Okay. So when you want to detach it, use the word detach. Detached. So how to detach it? Go to, I write it in the notes for your quick reference. Select the mission, actions, security, modify IAM role. So I have now detached it. As I have now detached it, now when I have detached it, so when I try to create a user now, it will ask you to provide the credentials. You can do that only when you have the credentials. Unable to locate the credentials, you have to provide the credentials and connect. Are you understanding? So uh, when you provide the credentials, you'll have full access to all the whatever you can do it using the command line interface. Everything you can do it. But if you want to have restricted access, okay, you want to restrict this EC2 machine terminal to specific service. How do you restrict it? There should be one approach. That's the concept of roles. So what you do, you create a role with required permissions, and we attach role to the trusted entities. Service is nothing but EC2 machines. Generally, we provide permissions to users. The roles is all about giving permissions to the entities like EC2. Okay, so now when I'm trying to create a user, it is asking unable to credentials. Now I'll attach the role again. Look at this. I'll attach the role again. Actions, security, modify IAM role, and what is the role which you have created? My role 27. Just now I have removed it. I'm again attaching it. Successfully attached the role to the EC2 machine. As we have successfully attached a role to the EC2 machine, now the same command, will it work? Look at the response. Is it working? Yes. Is it asking for credentials? Previously it was asking, it is saying that you are unable to locate the credentials. Now it is working. So role is a replacement of credentials. That's the first point. Role is a replacement of credentials. When you attach the role, you don't need those credentials. What credentials? Access key and secret key, that is not required. Next point, how do you restrict a particular EC2 machine to a specific service? Okay, how do you restrict the EC2 machine to a specific service? By using a role. So you create a role with attached policies, and that role you attach it to EC2 machine, so that EC2 machine will communicate to only one particular service as per the policy which you have attached. That is the concept of roles. That is the concept of roles. Okay. Sudhir, your question. I can see your hand raised. Yeah, Sudhir.
Yeah. Yes.
Clear, Sudhir. Actually, where exactly the need for a role? Did you
Yes.
understand?
So I have one query regarding this IAM role.
Yes.
So if we have three users on the CC2 machine, those three users can have
Can
the
have.
same role.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Now, this particular role we are attaching to EC2 machine. We are not attaching to users, isn't it, Sudhir?
Yes.
So whoever user has access to that particular EC2 machine, they have the same permissions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah. Thank
Yes.
you. And I have one more query regarding this global view. So
Regarding?
actually, yeah, I tried to see all the, I mean, I tried to see EC2 instances that are related to multiple regions at one time, but I couldn't find. Even I
No,
tried in Google.
we cannot find that. So we
Yeah,
have to. It is very important for us to remember in what all regions you have created. Make
yeah.
sure you terminate those EC2 missions. Okay.
Because I had the
Very
issue.
important. Yeah.
Yeah,
So generally what we do, we try to experiment. We create it in Sydney region. We create it in Singapore region. We create it in Mumbai region. Let's
yeah.
say Mumbai region, we delete it, but Sydney region or Singapore region, you have not deleted. So
So
what happens? So that will be running in the background. So you will get a bill, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
You should be
That's
very
what
careful.
happened. Yeah, yeah. I
You should be very
tried to
careful.
check in Google, but I couldn't find.
There is no such
So
kind of option.
yeah, thanks.
Where in which we can list out all the infrastructure which I have created. So there's no such option. Okay.
Okay, got it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Sudhir. Anju Negi, your question.
Hi, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Anju. How are you doing?
Sir, Anuj. It's Anuj. Anuj.
Anuj. Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sir, I was like, I just joined recently and I have
Mhm.
attended 2 classes only. I just wanted to check, like, is it a beginning sessions only or we are
And
going for.
we are almost completed 14 sessions. Okay. So this is not the beginning sessions.
Sir, but these, like Amazon, I am reading Amazon on a also like Amazon itself, Amazon training and certification. So there was like these are the starting topics.
Okay.
Making IAM roles.
For
So just
them, it
wanted
was
to confirm
starting.
like how much
Yes.
I missed.
14 classes you have
Yes, sir.
missed.
Okay.
Okay, Anuj?
Okay, sir. That's
Thank
all.
you. Thank you. Let's have a few more questions. Amit Gautam.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Amit.
Yes, sir. Sir, I was just having one doubt, not related to today's session. It is related to snapshots. So
Okay.
I just wanted to know, let's suppose I have a EC2 instance been running out and I have taken a snapshot of that particular EC2 instance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I had done some activity and it got failed and
What got failed? Creating a snapshot got failed?
no, snapshot is there.
Okay.
Basically, I am into security world, so I have an application which
Okay.
runs with AWS with
Okay.
infrastructure on AWS.
Okay.
Now that server on which I was running up certain task,
Mm-hmm.
connectivity lost, or I was not, that system got corrupted. Now
Okay.
how to
Roll back
will roll back
to
that
that status at the
yes,
time of created snapshot, isn't it, Amit? Actually, don't use snapshots concept. Snapshot is generally for volumes, isn't it, Amit? Okay. You need to go for AMI. Okay. Convert the machine into save the machine into as an AMI. Okay. So that whenever you want to get that particular status back, using that AMI, launch one more instance, the new machine gets created and you can terminate the existing machine. New machine is as if the machine which you have created at the time of snapshot, the same status, you'll have it. Got it, Amit? So you
related
have
to
to
IPs and everything, if it has static IP and all those things will be predefined back into the new instance.
no, you will not get the static IPs. You request a new IPs. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So IP address you have to handle it, but in the status of the machine, as it is, you will get it at the time of creating the AMI. So please use AMI's concept. Snapshots is only for volumes. AMIs is for machine images. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so with this, we have completed the concept of identity and access management roles. So when you attach a role, again, it will not ask for credentials. Okay, so let's delete whatever we have created. So delete root access keys. Root access keys we have generated. If you want to have command line interface, if you want to delete the root access keys, how can we delete the root access keys? Obviously, you need to get into IAM service. My access keys. Here is access keys which you have generated to see here last yesterday today. You can if you want delete the root access keys. The root access keys has been deleted. Okay. This is optional. If you want to delete it, I don't want the CLI, so I have deleted it. Delete the groups which you have created. Any groups? Deletion process is important. Are there any groups? Right now, there are no groups. Fine. Delete all the users which you have created. Okay, these are the two users which I have created. Delete IAM role. Go to roles. What is the role we have created? My role 27 is the role which I have created, isn't it? Select the role whichever you want. You can delete the role which you have created. Delete the buckets which you have created. Very important. Please delete. Delete the EC2 machines which you have created. Okay, so deletion is very, very important. Perfect. So with this, we have completed the concept of IAM. Let's move into one of the most important topic. Friends, one of the most important service of our complete course, that is called as a VPC. Stands for Virtual Private Cloud. Okay. We are now moving into one of the most important service. As per my understanding, it's one of the most important service in our course, that's called as VPC. What is VPC? Why should we use this concept of VPC? What is the advantage of this service called as VPC? Every service is having its own advantage, right? EC2, you can create our own instances, Linux environment, Windows environment, whichever you want, you can create it. S3, there's an advantage. It's a storage service. You can store some objects. You can store data into your S3 buckets. But what is VPC? What you can do with this service called as VPC? Let's try to understand. Try to look at this PowerPoint slide. You may have more information about the concept of VPC. As you can see this slide, let's try to grab information from this particular slide. VPC, as you know, stands for Virtual Private Cloud. The VPC, try to understand the concept. It's a virtual data center in the cloud. It's your own data center in the cloud. Obviously, you may have little clarity. You may not. This statement may not be clear for you. So this will be very clear when you start practicals. VPC lets you to provision logically isolated. Isolated is nothing but logically division. A separate section of AWS Web Services Cloud where you can launch AWS resources in your virtual network that you define. VPC lets you to provision logically isolated section of Amazon Web Services. Try to understand the concept. Important points, what we can create inside the VPC. We can create internet gateways, we can create route tables, all these terminologies we'll see and understand. So, okay, this is all getting into more technical details. Let's first try to understand the concept of VPC. Friends, let's try to understand the concept of VPC. Nikhil Garg, how are you doing?
Hi Sunil.
How are you doing?
Hello Sunil.
I am fine. How are you doing?
Great Sunil.
Okay.
So
Yes.
Sunil, actually I have a doubt. Like
Yes.
I am a BTech second year student now, and
Okay.
I don't have interest in coding too much.
Okay.
So I want to, like, if I want to make a future, right, in some good technology, but without a coding. So will you just help me, or like how?
AWS and DevOps, if you know, there is very little coding involved. So this is one of the preferred technologies. Okay. If you don't want coding,
And there is job. What are the job opportunity?
there are good opportunities, Nikhil. Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Krishna Rao? I can see your hand raised. You are allowed to unmute, Krishna Rao. Okay, no questions. Akash Arora, how are you? Please unmute. You are allowed to unmute.
Hi Sunil.
Krishna Rao, how are you?
Fine. How are you, Sunil?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Actually, yesterday connect the AWS account, or actually daily, or you connect with the console access.
Mm-hmm.
We are connecting with the command line access also.
Okay.
How you are directly connected with command line access? We don't need to connect to console access, or can I connect it with directly connected with command line interface?
Yesterday we have connected to command line interface, right, Krishna?
Yes.
Do you remember how did we connect it?
With command security and virtual key.
1 minute. Open the command prompt. What is the command to connect?
AWS configure.
AWS configure.
Yes.
You provide those keys. Okay. When you provide these keys, you will be connected. That's it.
Okay enough. First of all, we connect with the console access and we
Not
get
required.
both keys.
Once you have keys readily saved in your laptop, whenever you don't want to connect, you can connect. You don't need to connect to console. It's not mandatory that you have to connect console first, and then the second you have to connect to command line interface. If you have access key and secret key, you don't connect to console at all. Directly access with the command line. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Without console access, you can directly connect to command line and practice. Okay.
Okay. We have to save the keys, access keys.
Yeah, if you have the keys, that's enough.
Okay.
Hi Akash, how are you doing? Hello.
Can you hear me?
Your voice is not clear.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. Looks like some background noise. Aditya Thakur.
Yeah, hi Sunil.
How is your learning experience?
Yeah, going good now.
Okay. So I want to have a quick discussion to understand the concept of VPC much more clear. Okay, so I want to have a discussion with you to understand the concept of VPC. Stands for Virtual Private Cloud. So you know anything about VPC or you're completely new to it, Aditya?
This is new to me, but
okay. Let's try to understand what is VPC. Okay. Can we create an EC2 machine? Like this? Can we launch an EC2 machine?
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
When you launch an EC2 machine, where this EC2 machine gets launched?
AWS server.
In which data center?
Mumbai region.
Yes, you are right. Whenever you are creating an EC2 machine, these EC2 machine will be created in the Mumbai region. Okay. Very important. When a company, when clients wants to create some 100 machines, when a client or organization needs 100 instances, what is the first step we do? Whether it is 100 instances or 10 instances, no matter the size of the instances, whenever you're launching an infrastructure for a specific client, what you need to do in the Mumbai data center, assuming that this complete whiteboard is nothing but Mumbai data center, you need to first create a partition in the Mumbai data center.
Okay.
Are you understanding? When a client wants to create some 100 machines, okay, they have decided that they want to create 100 machines in the Mumbai data center. When the client wants to create 100 machines, whatever we are doing, we are directly jumping into the Mumbai data center. We are directly creating EC2 machines in the Mumbai data center. That's not the right approach. First, what you need to do in Mumbai data center, you have to create your own partition, your own isolated section.
Isolated section.
The partition which is created in the data center, the partition which we create inside the data center is called as VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. It's your own cloud, private cloud. AWS is public cloud.
Okay. It's in a data center in separate isolated area where we have all the servers for our own.
Exactly. The partition which you create in the data center specific to one particular client. Okay, is called as a VPC. As simple as that. So when client wants 100 machines, as of now, what we are doing, we are directly jumping into a Mumbai data center. We are directly launching all this machine 1, machine 2, machine 3, all this. We are directly jumping into Mumbai and creating it. That's not right approach.
Yeah.
First, create a partition in Mumbai. And then create EC2 instances inside that partition.
inside that partition.
EC2 machine, it is Linux machine or Windows machine, whichever the machines, you can create 100 machines, you can create 1000 machines. That's not a problem, but do it inside your partition.
I mean, whatever the service.
Every customer will have with their own partition.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Do you know how many EC2 machines Netflix is having? You know, Netflix is one of the main client of AWS.
Major AWS client.
Number of EC2 machines Netflix have. Okay. It's tens, hundreds, thousands, 100,000 instances.
Wow.
Okay. So 100,000 instances will there in that particular Netflix partition, that their own VPC.
Right.
LinkedIn is also one customer. LinkedIn will have their own partition.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is running on AWS. So this is a VPC for LinkedIn customer.
LinkedIn customers.
There's a VPC for a Netflix customer. There's one more VPC for
Amazon Prime itself.
PayPal is running on VPC. PayPal is running on AWS. So there will be one partition for PayPal. Every client will have their own partitions. The partitions which we create, I hope the concept is very well. The partition which we create in the data center, whether it is Mumbai data center, Singapore data center is not the point. The partition which you create inside the data center, Aditya, that partition is nothing but called as VPC. Clear?
Oh, right. Clear? Simply, we can say in simple terms, the parking area we used to pay for, it's like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. For example, Aditya, you want to buy a land in a city outskirts. You want to buy a particular plot of 200 square yards or 300 square yards. Okay. So what that real estate venture will do? First, they create partitions, right? Plot 1, plot 2, plot 3, plot 4, layout. One layout can be 100 square yards. One layout can be 500 square yards. According to the requirement, you can buy your own partition. So now you are owner of the partition. You can construct your house or you leave it. It's up to you.
Right.
10 rooms or 100 rooms, it's up to you. But it's a partition allocated to you.
Right.
A partition which is created inside the data center. Okay, that partition is called as a VPC. Whenever a client wants to have their infrastructure on AWS, what is the first step they do? Very important from the interview point of view. Whenever a client wants to plan to move to AWS infrastructure, what is the first step? What they do? The first step in creating infrastructure is create partition. That's nothing but creating VPC. The first step involved in every customer.
Right.
The first step involved when every customer wants to have their infrastructure on AWS is to create partition. The partition is nothing but called as a VPC. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Understood.
So now you go to the PPT. Now if you read the PPT, that will be much more clearer for you. VPC is a virtual data center in the cloud, our own data center. That's nothing but our own partition. VPC allows you to provision isolated section of Amazon Web Services where you can launch infrastructure in your network. That means in your partition. So partition which we create inside the AWS is called as VPC. Okay, fine. Let's move on. Okay. So let's have a diagrammatical representation. I want to create a VPC. Okay, VPC name can be anything. It can be my VPC, whatever it is. When you're creating a partition, you can name a particular partition. When you're creating a VPC, you need to provide IP address followed with subnet mask. Very important. Whenever you are creating a VPC, Aditya, you have to provide two values. What are the two values you need to provide? You need to provide IP address followed with subnet mask. In the example which I am showing you, what is the IP address which I am using?
000. 16 subnet.
The IP address which I'm using is 10.0.0.0. This is the IP address, and the value 16 is called as subnet mask. This is called as what? Subnet mask. Okay, so I repeat again, whenever creating VPC, how many values you need to provide? You need to provide 2 values, Aditya. What are the 2 values? So you need to provide IP
IP and
address
subnet.
/ a subnet mask. Okay, now your question will be obviously, Aditya, what is subnet mask? Why
Yeah.
are you using 16? Can we use 18? Can we use 20? Can we write 5? What is the importance of the subnet mask? Before showing you the importance of subnet mask, first let's practically create VPC. How to create VPC? If you want to create a VPC, under network and content delivery, go to services, networking and content delivery. Here we have an option called VPC. So go to, this is a VPC dashboard. Go to your VPC. Can you see by default there is one VPC available? There is already
Right.
VPC.
One VPC should be there.
Every account will have one VPC. Don't disturb
Yeah.
this default VPCs.
Yeah, right.
Remember, never disturb the these default VPCs are internally used by AWS account.
Hmm.
Never disturb the default VPC. So for our practice purpose, what we are doing, we are creating a new VPC. We have created VPC. What is the name of the VPC we are planning to create? The name of the VPC is
My VPC.
by VPC. And then when you're creating a VPC, what you need to provide? You need to provide IP address followed to the subnet mask. What is the IP address followed to the subnet mask value which you are providing? 10.0.0.0/16 is the IP address what we are providing. Clear? And then that's it. Create VPC. So is creating a VPC is difficult? It's not even a 1 minute
Not
task.
even 1 minute task.
Creating VPC is very simple. Your partition is done. You have created your own partition. What's the name of the VPC? You can see here. Right now there are 2 VPCs. One is the default VPC which you have it. Don't disturb the default VPC. And this is the new VPC which you have created. So you have created a partition in Mumbai data center. Okay.
Right.
Next question. When you're creating a VPC, you're providing IP address followed to the subnet mask. Now let's have some understanding about the subnet mask. The example, in our example, the subnet mask value which you have used is 16. What does that mean? Okay. Now look at my statement. Look at my statement. The maximum subnet mask allowed is 32. What is the maximum subnet mask allowed? 32. That is the maximum number allowed. Okay. What is the number you have used in your example?
16.
In your example, the maximum number allowed for subnet mask is 32. You have used a number 16 in your example. Now I'll show you the calculation. Okay. 32 minus 16 is how much?
16.
16. Okay. Sorry, 16. So 2 to the power of 16 is how much?
2 to the power of 16.
Let's hope Google will tell us. You don't need to worry. 2 to the power of
16
is how much?
65,536
is the size of the VPC. That means you can have 65,536 EC2 machines.
Means it is area like
Size of the VPC.
Okay.
Okay, how to determine when you're creating VPC, you need to know the size of how many machines I can create. Can I create 1,000 machines? Can I create 10,000 machines? Can I create 50,000 machines? Can I create 1 lakh machines? You have to determine the size of the VPC. How do you? The subnet mask will determine the size of the VPC. When you provide 16, the calculation is the maximum number is 32. In your example, you have provided 16. Okay, 2 to the power of 16, that is nothing but 65,065. Let's say if I use a subnet mask as 20. Assuming Aditya, I'm providing a mask value as 20. So maximum number is how much? 32. What is the number you have provided in your example? 20. What is the difference is?
12.
Now you have to look for 2 to the power of
12.
12. What is the value 2 to the power of 12? Let's look at it in Google. 4096 machines. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
The bigger the subnet mask value, the lower the number of
lower
missions,
the
because
number
you are
of machines.
subtracting it from 32, right?
Right. And this must be standard, right? This should be
This equation is standard.
standard. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Understood.
Okay. What if I write the subnet mask value as 30?
Then 2 to the power once 4 instances will get
Maximum number 32. The subnet
32
mask value
minus
what you have
30.
provided is 30. So the difference is what?
2
2.
to the
2 to
power
the power of 2 is
4.
how much? 4. That means you can have only 4 machines inside the
4
VPC.
machines. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
What if the subnet mask value is 32?
Nothing.
Huh?
We
What is
left
maximum number?
nothing then.
Maximum number is 32.
32
What is
minus
your number?
32.
What is your number? Your number is
32.
32. 32 minus 32 is what? 0. 2 to the power of 0 is how much? 1.
0.
2 to
2
the
to the
power of
power
0 is 1.
1. Okay.
Okay. 2 to the power of 0 is how much? 1. That means you can
1.
have 1 machine. Agree? So
Okay.
again, I'm coming back to the basic. VPC is nothing but a partition, Aditya. VPC is nothing but partition. When you're going to a real estate venture, when you want to buy your own partition, that is your own plot, obviously you'll ask for the size, yes or no?
Right.
I want 100 square yards, I want 500 square yards, I want 1000 square yards, I want 1 acre. It's up to your requirement. You'll take the size. Now, as per your requirement, you have to create the partition.
Right.
So as an AWS engineer, what we'll do when the client wants to move their on-premises infrastructure to AWS, first we'll analyze the existing infrastructure. We'll talk to the client. My dear client, how much is the previous instances you used to have in your own data center? Then they'll say we used to have 500 instances. Okay, if you have 500 instances, probably 4,000 is more than enough, isn't it? So if you
Yeah.
provide that 20, that means 4,000 instances. For the future expansion also, you can create some additional instances. At any point of time, you can change the size. That's not a problem. It's very flexible. Okay, so partition inside the data center is called as a VPC. You know how to create a partition. That is nothing but how to create a VPC. When you're creating a VPC, you need to provide two values. One is IP address, one is subnet mask
Subnet
value.
mask.
So by using the combination only, you have created a VPC, and you now know the calculation of the size of the VPC.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's delete the VPC which I have just now created. This is the VPC which I just now created, isn't it? Okay, so select the VPC. When you no longer require it, go to actions. There's an option called delete VPC. Don't delete the default VPCs. Never disturb the default settings. I have created VPC and I also shown you how to delete VPC. Creating VPC is less mention the name, IP address, subnet mask. That's it. Okay, but there's lots of conceptual knowledge behind the concept of VPC. Okay, I hope you have got an understanding of the Aditya. What is
completely?
VPC?
Yes.
More understanding about VPC, what all components you can have it inside the VPC, how exactly we can define the data center as an infrastructure as per the client requirements. We'll be seeing soon in our coming classes.
Just one query, Sunil. IP address also would be same. The 10.
Here I have used IP address 10.0.0.0. Okay. So what is the importance of IP address? So you'll understand. Pretty simple. When you're creating an EC2 machine, inside the VPC, when you're creating an EC2 machine, every EC2 machine will have IP address, isn't it?
Oh, no.
As you have mentioned 10.0.0.0. So what will be the IP address of this machine?
For now, 10.0.0.
10.0.0.0. If you create one more EC2, one more,
I think 0.1.
one more.
Okay. We'll give some pattern so it will follow.
0.1. Next EC2 machine 0.0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. Maximum number 10.0.0.255 will be the maximum number. After that, next EC2 machine will be 10.0.1.0. Next, what it will have? It will get 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. It follows your own series. You can define your own series. You can, as fancy number, I have used 10.0.0. If you want, you can use 20.0.0. If you want, if you can use 12.0.0, some number you have used it. So you can, according to your series, the IP address will again, EC2 machines will acquire the IP addresses.
Thank you so much, Sunil.
So friends, I hope you have understood the importance of VPC. We have quickly created a VPC and we have deleted the VPC. Now you're in a position to understand the size of the VPC. Okay, so let's move on to have a couple of questions before ending the session. Do not miss the tomorrow's class, because tomorrow we are jumping into more detailed concepts of VPC. Okay. Vamsi, Jonalag. Yeah. Vamsi, can you hear me? You are in unmuted state, but we cannot hear you, Vamsi. Check your mic settings, Vamsi. Manoj Sai Kumar.
Hi sir, good morning.
Good morning, Manoj. Yes.
Yeah, so I have one small doubt
Hmm.
regarding like for CLI, we're giving access key and secret key.
Yes.
We don't know, like we cannot remember those keys, so we should save it somewhere.
Yeah, we have downloaded it yesterday. Do you remember? There's an option to
But like
download it.
if you see,
This is the keys which
everybody
you have
can see that.
downloaded. Hmm?
Yeah, everybody can see that keys through that IAM service, like the screen. But
No,
is it
no.
secure?
Everybody will not have access to IAM. Vamsi.
Yeah, somebody like there is no password. Like if you open
No.
the
First point. When can you see the access key and secret key? Only when you have IAM service access. Vamsi. You are in EC2 team, so you will not get IAM access because you will be only connected to EC2 only. Okay.
what I'm saying is like those if you for logging into the console, we have to give password. Nobody knows the password. But
For logging
if
into
you
console, you need to provide email address and password. Yeah.
yeah. But for CLI, we need to copy paste those details, secret key and access key.
Yes.
Like somebody is can note down that access key and secret key so that they can log in from their machine and they can manipulate, like they can do whatever they want in cloud, right?
Okay.
Yesterday you were showing me the access key and secret key. If I take that screenshot and if I try to log in through my system, I can log in into yours.
Okay, that's the reason we can. There's an option called disable or enable. Do you remember? Without deleting, also we can disable it. Okay. Keys. Okay, there's
Can
an
we
option.
limit it to
There is a
one?
concept. There's a concept called deleting. There's a concept called disabling it. Okay, we can disable the key. So only if you know the keys, you can but we have disabled it, so you can regenerate the keys. That's not a problem, I'm saying.
Okay, we should be careful.
We should be
with the
careful.
keys.
You're right.
Yeah.
Vinod Padaki. Vinod, you are allowed to unmute. Okay. So do not miss tomorrow's class, because tomorrow we are jumping into the practicals of VPC. Okay. Until then, please practice, do hands-on. Okay. Thank you and see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Thank you.